Psych Chrissy here, back for another Tuesday night live broadcast. How are we all tonight? It's going to be an interesting topic. Give me a wave, give me a like if you're here. Ask me some questions if you like, because tonight is going to be an absolute ripper of a content sharing night. So what are we going to talk about? So there's lots to talk about tonight, guys. I'm going to try and help you guys. And I don't want to swear, even though I do say swear words a lot as part of what I do, I suppose. I'm not your most conventional psychologist at the best of times, but you know, how do you become more carefree, give less Fs in certain situations, particularly if you know, commonly running around, you know, getting stressed about things, you know, being really frustrated with others and just sitting down at the end of the day going, why do I get my knickers in a knot so much over everyday things? So it's a common problem, guys. We tend to get caught up in the daily sort of, I suppose, rigors of the goings on and the, you know, the things that we tend to encounter every day as part of life. And sometimes we can get sort of over-focused on the small things that people are doing or saying, or, you know, situations that might be eventuating, and you know, often we can just end up in a bit of a tiz, you know, and that can be really uncomfortable for people, and it can be quite difficult to manage, particularly if it happens quite often. And we often find ourselves questioning, you know, why is it, you know, that we just give a crap so much about everything that's going on? But it's not necessarily, you know, what I want to talk to you guys about tonight is not necessarily about not giving a crap about anything anymore. It's about getting you to think about what things you should really be focusing your attention on. And the fact is that if we run around, you know, focusing our time, our energy, our frustrations, our emotional experiences on everything that's going on in our environment, we're going to end up pretty burnt out. So I've got some tips and tricks for you guys tonight. I'm even going to explain, you know, why I feel like this happens for a lot of people, so that you can understand the function of why you get your knickers in a knot so much, and give you some strategies of exactly what to do about that, so that you feel, you know, more calm, more relaxed, less reactive in certain situations, you know, and just feel like that you can just better manage stress, overwhelm, anxiety, situational stresses, whatever might be going on in your life. So, guys, Facebook's chosen tonight, and it's so, I don't know, what can I say? I'm looking at my computer now. I've got no comments every week. And actually, I do have an app. I should do my app when I go live, because I've got an app on my other business page that I use, and it gives me all the comments. Whereas tonight, Facebook is not giving me any comments. So I can see people watching. So hello, everybody. We're going to learn how to give no Fs tonight, or to give less Fs. Oh, look, I've got some comments. How are we, Dave? Welcome, Cherie. Welcome to the broadcast. We're going to try and calm our farm tonight, and become less reactive in certain situations. And I'm going to tell you guys how to do that and what I think is the reason why you do it. So, why do we become so reactive in situations? Why do we get our knickers in a knot a lot of the time? Why do we give so many damns about what's going on in our environment? So a lot of it comes back to our belief systems, but also sometimes just losing sight of what's important. But I'm going to look at, I suppose, some of the underlying belief systems that really end up getting our knickers in a twist a lot of the time, and causes us to become a hell of a lot reactive in certain situations that sometimes is not overly necessary. So one of the unhelpful belief systems that we often has that gets us in a twist are the shoulds. So it's an unhelpful thinking style. it's often linked to certain belief systems, and you can guarantee yourself that when you start thinking in this way, you will definitely get your knickers in a knot. So, should statements, this should happen, that should happen, why hasn't this happened? Absolute ways of seeing the world, certainties that you believe should have happened, certain expectations that you have of outcomes that should have gone a certain way. Now, don't get me wrong, like we all have these situations where things should go a certain way, but what we know about life is that life doesn't work like that. And often if we walk around in our day and we've got that sort of mindset on, and it's very rigid and it's inflexible and it's very righteous and justified, we will find ourselves becoming very, very reactive in a lot of situations, you know, and really the only person that suffers is us. All right, so should say statements are, even though they happen and everybody has them, and we all have certain belief systems that prescribe these certain ways of thinking in certain situations, they can be very unhelpful. So it's really important to recognize and be aware and acknowledge when you might be digging your heels in about something and prescribing that something should have happened, you know, because that will definitely lead to you becoming more reactive and overwhelmed and, you know, struggling emotionally in certain situations. Hey, Caitlin, how are we tonight? We've also got Monica tonight. Welcome, Monica, to the live broadcast. I love having you guys watching me live and supporting your local psychologist, delivering all of the good information. So the shoulds are a certain way of giving too many F's in your life. The next one I want to talk about is a common issue that I see all the time. And don't get me wrong, you know, everyone, and I think everyone falls victim to these at any given time, but trying to please everybody. You know, as humans, you know, we have an innate desire to be liked by people. We want to be liked and we want to be accepted. And that's just how we human. That's just one of our innate, like one of our inbuilt desires that we have for human connection, is that we want to be liked and we want to be accepted by others. Hey Aggie, welcome to the broadcast. But the problem is we just can't be, you know, and in the vein of wanting to be liked and accepted by others, we often engage in a whole lot of behaviours and activities and actions and decision making that leads to us trying to please other people. And unfortunately, when that becomes, you know, some of our core business and some of the main ways that we interact with people, that can become very problematic, because what it leads to is high levels of frustration, lots of resentment, lots of stress and overwhelm, because in reality, we just can't please everybody. And even more so, sometimes we're not always going to please others, and we're not always going to be accepted and liked by every single individual. So it's a bit of a lost cause, you know, when that kicks into action and you feel those default kind of responses and those behaviors and those those decisions kicking into place that you know, are trying to alleviate and please everybody. That definitely leads to you giving too many F's about, you know, situations and circumstances that potentially you don't have any control over. Because at the end of the day, you could people please to the bloody cows come home and that person still might not like you. So it's a slippery slope, you know. So that's one other thing to watch if you're really trying to work on not giving so many F's in the world. The third one that I think is really, really important, and I feel like does impact on people's reactiveness in certain situations and their level of buy-in and their level of investment, is when you take too many things personal. You know, when you walk around in the world and you're interacting with people and you're having relationships and you're entering workplaces and, you know, all of those situations where we're likely to have interactions with others, we can actually get into a cycle of personalizing things too much. And that definitely is a trigger in circumstances where we just give too many Fs. You know, we care too much about what people think about us, or, you know, we care too much about what people say about us, or people's opinions, or, you know, people's appraisals of us, or people's judgments of us. You know, we personalize things way too much. And that often results in, you know, ongoing knicker twists, to be honest. Never-ending knicker twists. How's that for a word? Never-ending knicker twists. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about some of my psychological terminology at times. But definitely that will lead to you becoming really burnt out and reactive in situations if you're really filtering the environment in that way. So, guys, it's really important that you realise those 3 significant triggers that Psych Chrissy feels like leads to, you know, you becoming overreactive in situations and becoming hypersensitive to what's going on in your environment. So, should statements and you know, rigid expectations of what should be occurring and how it should be occurring, trying to please people too much and taking too many things personally. So those are some of the 3 main areas that I want you to have a think about. And often its first step is obviously recognizing when you're engaging in that way, or, you know, having insight and understanding that you might be feeling stressed and overwhelmed and resentful of your relationships or certain situations because you are defaulting to those ways of thinking about situations or perceiving certain situations, you know. So I think, you know, one of the main ways of counterbalancing some of those reactions or catching yourself out in that way is working out, you know, what really matters to you, you know, because a lot of the time we get caught up in these ways of thinking. And we lose sight of the big picture. Like we got to get a grip, you know, because when we walk around in the universe responding to all of these ways of thinking and in these situations, and we default to these ways of perceiving the world, we tend to lose perspective, you know. So taking stock of the bigger picture and standing back from yourself and going, now hang on a minute, I'm bloody stressed, I'm running around like a 2-bob watch, I'm doing all of these things for people and I'm reacting in all of these ways, and I've just got to stop what I'm doing and smell the roses, you know, because there's a better way of doing life. There's a better way of managing myself here. There's a better way of reacting, and it doesn't have to be in a way where I end up psychologically stressed and burnt out, and that person over there just skips into the bloody sunset and continues their day. Hey Sam, welcome to the broadcast. We're trying to work out, or we're not trying to work out, we know Psych Chrissy's telling everybody how to sort of reduce their level of F's given in a nutshell. You know, so very much understanding what's important to you, taking perspective and seeing the big picture, and really sort of understanding these triggers and stepping back from yourself and going, hang on a minute, am I defaulting to unhelpful ways of thinking and perceiving the world, you know? Because at the end of the day, they're only thoughts. You know, so, you know, thoughts are not facts. That's a really useful strategy that I often encourage my clients and, you know, my business coaching clients and my forensic clients to use, that thoughts are just facts. They're actually not reality a lot of the time. They're spin-offs, you know, from our experiences and our belief systems. And if we're able to step back from that and just go, what's going on here in my mind, and do I have to react to this situation? That could really help you get a little bit more of a gap between your response and the trigger event. So, Sam, 3 years ago, you did do this. Sometimes you do just have to push back. In psychology land, we don't frame it up as telling everybody to get effed. What we frame it up as is having boundaries, you know, and, you know, pushing back on people and saying, no, that's not acceptable to me. I don't need to do that. These are my expectations, and I don't have to, you know, roll myself under a bus for you. And that, you know, you can have social, relationship, emotional, psychological boundaries, you know, and some of the strategies that I've given you here are really about you being able to hold that space and those boundaries. So what do you think, guys? Are we going to walk around now being a little bit more adept at not giving all of our F's away. Because I think we overspend on the F's, and then, you know, it makes it really difficult for us to manage, you know, psychologically and emotionally. So thanks for that, Monica. Yes, it all comes down to boundaries and putting those things in place. Absolutely. So there we go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the broadcast tonight. A lot of live watchers. So that's good to know, because I can sort of cater my content around the things that you are finding interesting in terms of Psych Chrissy content. And guys, if you know someone out there that needs a little bit of a dose of this content, please feel free to share the Psych Chrissy videos. There's probably people out there that really need to, you know, understand some of this information and really start putting some of these strategies in place. So please feel free to share me around, guys. And there we go. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you all next week.